Well, hello. My name is Sheree Phax, and this is my husband, Tracy Phax, and we are here tonight to discuss dating facts.
Yes.
So, for those of you who don't know, my name is Sheree. Obviously, he's Tracy, and we met during COVID online about 2 weeks after COVID started, and had an amazing couple months where we just got to know each other. And on May 22nd of 2020, we had a fabulous in-person date. For the most part, we were pretty inseparable after that. Tracy asked for me to marry him on New Year's Eve, and we got married May 22nd of 2021. So we basically met, dated online during COVID, got engaged, and got married within a year. So we are often asked, after our engagement got picked up by Philly Mag, and then our wedding was featured in the New York Times, and then my story of transformation was picked up in O Magazine. We have a lot of people that really ask us a lot of questions about how did we meet each other, get married, all in 1 year, especially during a global pandemic. So that's a little bit about us if you don't know us, but welcome to our page, welcome to our space. We are so excited to have you. And we are just going to share our dating facts and talk a little bit about our backgrounds, our story, and how we got here, and how we can help others do the same. Baby.
Yes,
welcome. This is the first time that we've really talked about our relationship together where we're interviewing each other. Most of the time we have people interviewing us.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's a little different, but we're going to get through it tonight.
No, very, very different. Anybody know I only go live. Normally it's about criminal justice reform or something about business, but I'm super excited, baby. I'm excited. I know where your passion is in this, and I know what this means to you. You want to see black women. You want to see all women win.
Yes.
And I know that that's a passion. So I'm excited. I'm excited about being here tonight and to help wherever I can.
Absolutely. So, let's dip right in. We know the pandemic changed things for everyone. Social media, the internet has made the world really small, but the pandemic made it even smaller. You had more people online, you had more people engaging in that cyberspace than ever before because we were locked in. We couldn't see each other. We couldn't go out. We couldn't be social. So we used all the tools that we had. So you have a lot of people that are trying things that they've never tried before. So for me, I had never dated online before for a multitude of reasons. Some of it had to do with the stigma attached to dating online, and then some of it just had to do with I was out and about regularly. I met people regularly, so I didn't feel like I needed to date online because I met people in person. But I was locked in my place all by myself and thought, wow, if I got COVID and I died in here, I'd be all by myself. And so who wants to be alone? No one really, because we are created to want to be partnered, to want companions. So regardless of what we say, I don't want no man, I don't need no man, that's not really true because we're naturally...
Oh, I ain't never getting married again.
We are naturally created to want partnership. And so as that, I really had to be introspective about where my dating journey was going to go. And I just got very, very intentional about what I wanted to do. So many women ask me, how did you meet Tracy? How did you guys connect? Well, to be honest, and I love my husband, but Tracy was a byproduct of a very, very, very long process. So definitely, you can be ready to get online and ready to have these conversations with men and things like that. But there's a lot of inner work that has to be done. And that's really where mine started. Hold on one second. Let me do one thing. I'm going to share this. Hold on one second. I'm going to share this.
Why she's
you go ahead
sharing that. And also through this whole journey too, and I think this is very important too, because I heard from brothers also a reference to me getting married again. People ask me that question, Tracy, why would you get married again at the age of 58 after a divorce? I was married prior to this 33 years. So, people ask that question, and I got to say, a man wasn't meant to live alone. And, finding and dating, especially during COVID, was a life-changing experience. So life-changing, I got married. So great opportunity. And I believe that through this pandemic, a lot of good things has come out of it. And this is absolutely one of them. So she's back. So
Thank you.
Go ahead, baby.
Okay.
I kept them going for you while you were
I
there.
appreciate it. So many people ask me, what are the things that you do online? And I give tips, and I talk about pictures, and I talk about profiles, and I talk about how to engage with men, and I talk about how to speak to men. A lot of times women, what we haven't understood is that we're operating so much in our feminine energy. A lot of women I talk to say, hey, I don't have time. I want to make sure this is quick. I'm in school, I'm working, I'm on my 3rd degree, and they don't make space and they don't make time for a relationship to come in. They are operating in that masculine energy so often that when they're doing their profiles, that masculine energy really comes through. And the reality is that masculine men are also afraid of rejection. Masculine men also have certain insecurities. So are we creating dialogue through this flat space? Because it's not 3-dimensional. You're not in meeting with people. You're with this flat space that is inviting to a man, that makes a man say, ooh, through those words, I want to get to know this person. Those are the types of things that we have to really think about. And through my years of words and affirmations, and I have a master's degree, even though Tracy doesn't even know this because we don't talk about that. That is not what I led with. But I have a master's degree in leadership and organizational development, so I understand the psyche behind social groups and communication and reading nonviolent communication, how we evoke feelings, how we engage with someone's heart versus their head, how do we influence them to move in the direction that we want them to move in. And then through personal affirmations, I am an Abraham Hicks disciple, knowing how words really impact the experiences that we have. So if you say there are no good men out there, you're absolutely right. If you say, oh, dating online is so hard, you're absolutely right. If you say things like there aren't any good black men, you're gonna find the dusties. So our thoughts, our words, the way we engage, those things are so important. And those are the things that I really try to help women understand. What's your mindset when you're even coming into the online space? Men can read that, even though we don't think it. It comes through in our bios, it comes through in our pictures, it comes through in our engagement. Another thing is, how do you separate yourself from the crowd? How do you, of all the men that are going to swipe, how do you make someone say, I want to talk to that person. I want to stop and I want to talk to them. So I give people the example all the time. I can say, I'm from Oakland and my job moved me to Philadelphia.
And I can say, welcome to Philadelphia, like I'm living in Philadelphia.
Or I can say, I'm a girl from the Bay, living in the city of brotherly love. Which of those people, if you had to choose one of them, which of those people would you want to talk to? So it's all about words. It's all about saying the same thing, but doing something different. So do you say, I like jazz? How many bios have you read where the person says, I like jazz? Or do you say something like, I like hanging out in an urban hang swing, listening to do something, something to that effect. Which is the person that's more engaging? So those are the types of things that I try to help women understand. It's not necessarily what you say, it's how you say it. What are you inspiring men, and how are you inspiring them to engage with you and interact with you? If you're complaining that you're not having good dating experiences, it's probably because either the energy that you're bringing to the space, or you're not exciting enough. You're not inciting enough inspiration. You're not making them want to reach out to you. And that's really, unfortunately, the reality. Again, you have to cut through the noise, you have to cut through the crowd. So that's what's really, really important. So those are some of the do's and don'ts of dating and dating tips. The other piece is just how you engage. So if a man asks you a question, how do you respond back? Do you just say yes, or do you just give him open-ended or closed-ended questions, allow him to say yes or no? Or do you say, wow, that's really interesting, tell me more? Or do you say, wow, how did you stumble across that? I want to understand more about you. Those are the things that really engage people. And they're proven. Trust me, I was online for 3 weeks and I had a 5-man rotation, and then he came. So
cut all that out.
Anyway.
Go ahead.
But the point being is that I attracted a lot of very good quality men. And when I say good quality men that of what we choose as status, jobs, intellect, interest in me, they brought me groceries and just different things like that. So showing interest, pursuing things like that. That's another thing. List. How are we qualifying quality men? Is it based on where they went to school? What does that tell you about their character? Is it based on what their occupation is? Does that tell you how they're going to treat you? I have been with all the PhDs and the MMDs and the ESQs and all that, and have been treated unfairly, have been treated poorly, have been treated unhealthily, have stayed in those relationships because I felt that I was attached to something with some status. Well, my husband is very successful, but my husband's a blue-collar worker. My husband's very successful, but my husband's a formerly incarcerated person. My husband's very successful. My husband's a former drug addict. How many executives, I'm like the highest African-American woman in my organization as far as job responsibility, revenue, etc. How many executive women would have dated a man with that background if they knew that that's what it was? So are we opening up ourselves to a man's character versus what he looks like on paper? I hear well, he looked good on paper. Okay, but he's beating you, so that's not good. I don't care what he looks like on paper. So how often are we making those decisions based on those surface things? Absolutely, we can want someone to have an intellect where they have an ability to converse with us. So Tracy knows something about everything. And the things that he doesn't know, he's really transparent and saying, I've never heard of that, and let's talk about it. But the things that he's passionate about, the things that he does civic duty about, the things that, President Obama recognized him about, being a champion of change, the work that he's done to get his pardon, those things, he's so passionate about it. He's so interested in him, so interesting that he inspires me more than anyone with any letters behind their name and any certificates on their walls. So how often are we assuming that that's what it takes for us to be happy? So ladies, I want you to be thinking broader and wider. And I talked a lot, baby. So share your thoughts about any of that.
Well, dating online, and unlike my dear wife, I was almost a veteran at dating online. But some of the things that I learned online, though, and this is the reason why I was so passionate about helping you out in this area, a lot of the things that I learned online as far as dating certain women and getting to know them women online before we actually met in person, or getting to know them online before we went to either texting or even messaging online, is that the things that we put out there, like she said, the pictures, the bios, some of the bios scream traumatic experience, and I just got to be honest with you. So we have to make sure, as she stated earlier, that we have, number one, done some work on ourselves so we can begin to receive love and begin to receive the husband or the wife that we want. And I think that all boils down to us doing work on ourselves. So I was very excited. When I met someone who had already been through it herself, it was like magic. So it was like magic when it jumped off. So thank you, babe.
You're welcome. Okay, and I'm trying to look and see if I can get to all these questions, but I can't. So I'm going to go with some of the questions that we've already been asked. And one of those questions is, Tracy, how did you know that Sheree was the one?
Wow. Well, once again, going to that bio. Her bio screamed someone that was exciting. Her bio screamed someone who loved to travel. Her bio spoke to the woman that she was. And her pictures coincide with that. So all those things caught my attention online. And just, look at this right here. That was enough too. But the bio, the pictures, especially the pictures. And one of the things that's been my pet peeve, and I spoke with her about it, is the full body shot. You know what I mean? Full body shots of who you are so people could not just see constant headshots was very important. And like I said, she provided all that, so it really caught my attention.
The other question is, do men know? Because obviously you asked me to marry you pretty early on, so do men know?
No, men know. Listen, brothers. We know. We know when we have the right one. And, you know, it didn't take me long after, like she said, we dated online for a couple of months before we even met in person. But all those dates online, Zoom breakfast and Zoom coffee and Zoom comedy shows and all those times we spent together just getting to know each other pretty much set the stage. Unlike when you get to meet someone out at a club or out in the streets or anywhere, you get that opportunity, but 6 months later, you come to find out that you have met their representative and not the true person. But, you know, by then, 9, 10, a year has passed, and you're just realizing that. So dating online has been a great experience for me, and of course, this is the end result.
You know what, and I'll say something else, and I probably will get messages about this. I am not a sex shamer, and I am not anyone who does not let her freak flag fly. However, I think us not being able to physically be in each other's presence for 2 months helps a lot. I think a lot of times as women, we give ourselves up too quickly before we really understand what a man's intentions are, before we really understand if it's going to be for the long haul, before we really have set any boundaries or set any expectations, and then we all in love, and he's like,
I didn't sign up for this.
That's not what I was trying to do. You got that wrong. So I actually had already started that practice. I was very clear the next person I was going to be with was going to be my husband, and I communicated that with men that I dated. I was not dating casually. I was not casually giving my body to men. And again, I am not a shamer. I like sex like the next person. However, women get an emotional connection. That oxytocin and all those feelings are very different for us than they are for men. And that's supposed to be the period of time where you're getting to know people. You're getting to collect data. You're getting to understand who they are. You're understanding, do you guys have the same and want the same thing? Tracy actually did not want to get married. However, I did, and I was very clear about that. And I was clear about I was going to date people with marriage as a priority until that person emerged. And I think he felt strongly enough about me, and maybe you can confirm this, that he said, hey, maybe I should think about wanting to get married.
Super confirm that. Super confirm that. No, absolutely.
So as far as that process, not being afraid to just state what your desires are, what you need, what your intentions are. There is no need to date a man who does not want to get married if that's what you want. Yeah. And there is no reason for you not to be able to communicate that to him. That's just as a mature, complete adult, that's just like necessary.
And just let me add to this, baby, and I know we probably starting to run over, but just let me add to this. Communication is everything. Communication is the key. So we talked earlier about what attracted me to her. It's communication. That communication. Communicating early on the things that she will accept, the things that she will not accept, and the things that she's looking for in life. That was very crystal clear. And that's what we have to do in any type of relationship.
Yeah. And if it's your guy, he'll either acquiesce
he'll step up or step back.
Step up or step back. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's what happens. So, that's okay. The other piece is a not letting, if it's not your guy, being okay with it not being your guy and moving on. Both of us had been out of quasi-recent relationships when we got online. We both probably could have either stayed in those relationships or figured out a way to continue to engage those people. We both were free at the time. So are you staying in relationships because you want comfort, because you want companionship, because you don't want to be lonely? It's okay to say, you know what, I know my person is out there. Think that mental positive thought. I knew my person was out there, and I knew my person was not going to have to date down, which is what a lot of us executive women are told. We are not going to get everything that we ask for. Yes, we can. And we will. We can create and design the life that we choose. And so we don't have to date down. My husband is not fat, bald, or, he's very much the way that I wrote down in my I brought my receipts in my journals about who the man I wanted to be. And
I'm in there.
And this was 6 years ago. Sierra had her prayer. I had on my nightstand in a very nice frame the man that was going to be my soulmate. And Tracy meets about 95% of that. So it's just all about your mindset. It's all about what you believe in. You know, as an executive, I can get busy, but I have to create the space to allow love to come in. We can just, you know, as women, we have been conditioned to think that we have to provide so much and do so much. If we lean back, if we lean into our feminine space, that masculine energy, we will attract that, and it will come in, and it will be the provider. It will be the protector. It will be the thing that we're looking for it to do. So when we're engaging with someone online or engaging with someone in general, what are our words like? Are they inviting? Are they soft? Are they engaging? Or are they off-putting? Or are they, you trying to tell him a little something, be nice, nasty in your responses?
Oh, matter of fact.
Men don't respond to that, because for them, for a healthy masculine man, he's like, I'll pass, because she's probably like that boardroom type chick that I don't want, that's inflexible. But that's not who we have to be. It really isn't. So I definitely have tips that help you with that engagement and things that help your bio stand out in the crowd. You want to be amazing. You want to be unique. You don't want to tell anybody you want to travel. Everybody wants to travel. I want to see the 7 wonders of the world. I want to hike Kilimanjaro. I want to see the pyramids. Really help people understand who you are. And as I talk about in my tips, can we stop telling men that we're looking for communication? I'm looking for a man to do this. I'm looking for a man to do that. Just tell a person who you are. Mm-hmm. What lights you up? What inspires you? What makes you interesting? What makes you engaging? Are you interesting? I saw an exchange with a woman and a man. She wanted him to be inspiring, but she wasn't inspiring. I'm in sales, so I have to be on. So I have read everything you pretend to know and are afraid someone will ask at a party. So I know these things. Or sound smart at a party. So what I have found is through my professional evolution and development, my personal education and just personal coaching and being in dating groups and following dating coaches and gurus and reading the Gottmans and just all those things, I have crafted a program and a way for women to really shine online and to really understand and know how to engage with men so that they get the desired outcomes that they are looking for. So I will put that information in the chat. You can click on it. You can get a free download, and you can sign up and spend some time talking to me about what that all looks like. But I wanted to make sure that we got to people's questions. So we asked a couple of them, but there was another really good question that came through from Angela. So thank you for this question. And I want to make sure I get it right. So forgive me. How do you bring up the subject about prenups? And when you're dating, when do you bring up the subject? In the beginning, middle, or when you're engaged?
That's an easy one when you got assets. No, I think with both people, and that was an easy subject. I think we of course we did a prenup. She has assets, I have assets.
It turned into a post-nup because my mom died unexpectedly before we got married, so we didn't get a chance to finish everything. Mm-hmm. But that was more of the reason why you need one, because my mother was healthy, did not expect that. So definitely the reason to have one. But go ahead.
Absolutely. So that was an easy conversation for us. But I think that should be an easy conversation for anybody. Whether one person has assets and the other person doesn't. Listen, when you're in a business or when you bring some things to the table, I think those things should be laid out in the beginning. I talked about this earlier. Communication is everything. So me and her having that conversation, and she can give me that voice that she uses when she likes to have those conversations.
Yes, I did.
Those things are made easy. They are made easy when the landing place is a soft place to land. So those conversations, I really believe in. A lot of people say that, I'm going to sign a prenup. They only bring that up. As soon as somebody bring it up that the engagement is over. No. No, it's all about communication. It's all about how you engage each other on that subject.
And the way I approached it was that we both have children, and I didn't think it would be responsible or fair for either of us to jeopardize our children's future in the event that in some way, shape, or form one of us, acted inappropriately in our marriage. That's not what we plan to do, obviously. But I also know you can make a lot better decisions when you are loving each other versus if someone's hurt. So I felt that it was just best to protect our children. I have assets like he said. He has assets like he said. And we just wanted to make sure if anything happened that those assets were protected for our children. And that's how I approached it. And it was fine.
Easy conversation.
Very, 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 very easy conversation. And because we love each other and we trust each other.
And that's a good question.
Yeah, it was a good question. Michelle asked, how did you tell the other guys you were dating that you found the one? Just like that. No. But everyone got the same message. I'm dating for marriage, and I will date men until one emerges. So when I had to have those conversations, I said, hey, remember I had that conversation with you about I'm dating for marriage?
He came up.
And one emerged. He has emerged. And it's been a wonderful experience interacting with you. I've enjoyed it, and I'm sure you are going to find love. And I hope you do like I have. And every single one of them was so happy for me and said he got a good one. He got, really, I really attracted some really quality people. So that's how that conversation went down. And it was easy. I'm 51. I was 50 at the time. So ladies, for those of you who have been told that, because I hear Kevin Samuel telling people that at a certain age, they're not going to find no man. I'm not trying to give other people love, but you can. You absolutely can. It just depends on how you approach it. Again, if you think you won't, you won't. If you think you will, be bold. Be confident. Be assured. Even if you got to meditate in the morning, we listen to meditation music overnight. We meditate in the morning before our days get started. We really lock in and hone in on the things that we're trying to accomplish. And we make sure that we're mentally and emotionally connected to that happening. I have paragraphs in there that says, I love being Mrs. Syphax. That was before I was Mrs. Syphax. I love being Mrs. Syphax. I claimed that, and it came to fruition. So I did. So I did. So my point only was that at this age, we should all be comfortable with communication. And if we're not, I can help you with that too. I coach people on that also. So, that was a really great question, Michelle. Let me see if there are any others before we come on. Did I find it challenging to tell them you were dating to marry? Not at all.
That's a good question too.
It is a good question.
Janae. Hey, Janae.
I didn't. I was clear on my goal. And like I said, and the funny thing was, so, I don't know, for those of you who haven't seen us talk before, I said, hey, because I think he was like, what are you looking for? And the first time he asked me that was over the phone. And I was like, I'm looking for my superhero. What's your superpowers? So, you're not going to get all the stuff I want. I want to hear who you are. So that was the first time. And then when we started talking online, he said, so what do you want? What are you looking for? And I said, hey, I'm looking for marriage. I said, and it might not be with you, so don't get nervous, because I'm not, thirsty. And, he's been with a lot of women. So I was like, I want to get married. And it may not be to you, but I'm dating intentionally for marriage, and that is my goal. And so I'm dating men until someone emerges as the person who wants to get married, and I'm prioritizing marriage-minded men. So if you're not interested in getting married, that's okay. You are a great guy, and I'm sure we can hang out. However, I'm going to prioritize my time for men that want to be married. And Tracy looked down and he looked at me like, I don't think anyone's ever told me that before.
And they haven't. But once again, great conversation, great communication, laid it out on the line, provided that soft landing space for me to respond to that. And understanding that and knowing that, we could continue our relationship, because now I know why we're dating, and I'm looking forward to it. And course, the end result.
Yeah. So we'll take one more question. Let's see. Hey,
Hey, Janaba.
hello. Communicate without controlling, that is
My
true.
man Henry Collins down in Atlanta, Georgia. That's so true, Henry. And I know you got your queen, bro. I remember when y'all first met, man. And God bless you and her. I think we're good, baby.
Oh, one last question. Danielle. Did you have lists? Oh, okay. You came on late, I'm sure. Did you have a list of what you wanted? So in the O article, I talk about having these lists based on social norms and religious norms. You know, historically, I wouldn't have dated a man that had not gone to some type of advanced degree. Historically, obviously, I didn't have a person with a very colorful past like my husband's. I didn't have him on my list. So I did have lists before, but those lists weren't serving me. I was dating the men that were checking those lists, but they just weren't no good for me. They weren't healthy. They weren't mature. They had a big ego. They didn't honor me. They didn't cherish me. They didn't do those things. So when I really went inward and really trusted myself inwardly, doing so much of that inner connection work and not looking for external validation, then I just trusted myself. Our intuition as a woman is our strongest superpower if we hone into it, if we develop it and we groom it and we trust it. So I didn't need a list. Tracy, hands down, is like, he cherishes me, and he doesn't have an advanced degree, and he does have the background that he has, but the way he loves me is better and more deep than any man with any and all of the letters behind their name and all of the advanced education. Because the reality is, like I said before, there is nothing about a man going to college that tells you anything about his character. It just tells you that he can go to school 4 more years than most. That's all. There's nothing about a person that has MD or PhD or any of that behind their name, but they can be in a classroom longer. That's it. There's nothing about character. There's nothing about value. There's nothing about his core. There's nothing about any of that. So for my husband to have the life that he had and deal with the trauma that he dealt with and grow and develop and get work and go to counseling and forgive, he's just one of the purest, most generous, most honest people that I know. And he just aligns with my values. So list, I didn't have one. It was just about how a person resonated and connected to me energetically, spiritually, emotionally.
So that's right. Throw that list away.
Throw that list away. Burn it. Burn it. I think that's it. But we have been on for 30 minutes here. I want to let people go. I think that's it. But thank you so much. Like I said, I will put our website in the chat. It is www.justthephax.com. If anyone wants to work with me, like I said, I have been working on this since 2012, unknowingly. But see, when you give it the right person, you find out your
end result,
your passion. And my passion is for every woman to win, especially black women, especially black women over 40, and giving you the tools, the things around mindset, the things around your online engagement that will ultimately get you the love and the life that you desire and deserve. So thank you so much for spending your time with us. We'll be on another time, I'm sure, but follow us on Instagram, on Facebook, and now you have our website. All right. Good night.
Good night. Good night, everyone. Goodbye, baby.